they were to like, if he wins his call, they don't have enough money to pay him out and he'll be worth more than they are.
And if GameStop goes to 70, he becomes a billionaire.
That's crazy, bro. Do you think he pulls out though at 70?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The thing is why GME keeps working.
Yeah.
Is Diamond Hands, like all the memes, like everything that they did to like start the whole memes portion of things, right? Like it's hard to say. Like I don't like obviously like an intelligent person would sell.
Yeah.
But like for him, maybe it's good enough where he just takes out maybe $1 million here from some other investment or something, or like he's definitely able to like move some money around, live good, and still be like diamond hands sort of thing.
Man,
right?
that's so crazy. Like
right now, like on closing, like what day is today? June 6th?
Yeah.
Yeah, on closing day, he was
tomorrow, isn't it?
Well, no, today he was up 565 million.
But don't his call like his shorts all what's it called end tomorrow?
No, I think they end on like next week or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
Let's go D&D.
Crazy, bro. Money works different.
With it too, it's like what makes me so surprised is this happened last time there was a crypto run. If you think about it, remember when Doge was going crazy, XRP, like all those. Same time when stocks were like all the meme stocks started going wild too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, man. I'm almost at this point. I'm almost just fucking tired of like seeing XRP news on TikTok, right? Because it's like there's so many opinions, and then there's so many people that like it's gonna moon, it's gonna fall flat. Like there's no way the government's gonna allow people to get rich off of XRP, like all of this sort of shit, right?
Yeah.
And like the biggest thing right now is like the SEC case that has technically been closed since March, then got drawn out with like this lawsuit and like fines and everything. Apparently, like one thing that I saw today was that in the next 24 hours, so there was a final ruling, and the SEC is actually going to be the one that's going to have to pay out a $2 million fine for almost like a defamation type thing, or just like misuse of their power sort of thing, like for like what they were doing and like how they were trying to like just like stop crypto as a whole, because like this case defines crypto and like its implementation worldwide, not even just like North America but worldwide. And then so it's like, okay, I've been seeing that this case is going to be ending for like a couple months now. I hold a good amount of XRP. I've told people, like close friends, like put $500 in it. It could potentially change your life, but make sure it's $500 you don't care about, right? Because like if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like you might not get it back, sort of thing. Yeah. But like if you hold $500 worth of it, and it's changed now that it jumped from, I was telling people this at like 12 cents, 20 cents, that's jumped up now to a high of, I think it touched just over $1 a couple weeks ago, and now it's been floating like 70 cents, kind of like that. But like some of these price predictions is like life-changing amounts of money, like for sure 100%. So it's like bro, either do it and give me my money so like I can stop stressing, or like fuck off, right? But like
stop the dream.
And I'm sick of that, like just like all the talk about it on Twitter, I mean well X whatever, like Instagram and all that, like all that talk, I'm so sick of it, because like they always say like once everybody's talking about it, that's when you're late. You're too late, you know what I mean? So it's like do you have then again GME can
do you have FOMO? Do you have FOMO of like the crypto world?
No, not really, because like me personally, I understand that like what I missed on, and what I hold the potential upside of it. Anything else that comes out beyond this, because like the systems are already in place, right? All of like there's already coins and that are able to do transactions in seconds for almost no cost, sort of thing, right? So like there's those systems in place. There's already handshake deals in place. There's already a defined use for the big players like Bitcoin, Ethereum, so and so. So like anything else that really comes out now, you're really taking the risk of pump and dump, meme coin, or a hope, like a long-term hope, almost like a stock, like an early penny stock sort of thing, like a hope that this company can turn and make an impact sort of thing. But because of where crypto is, like there's no, me personally, I don't feel like there's no more FOMO, because like I don't have a couple 100,000 to throw into Bitcoin for like Bitcoin to pump another like 2-3K per coin, and then it's like, what am I making off of that sort of thing, even if I could pump into it, sort of thing. So
What makes
Well,
Go
I was gonna
ahead
say
first.
same here. Like even like a couple years ago, I learned my lesson with AMC. You know,
Yeah.
I was up like quite a bit. I was like, oh, we're gonna go to the moon. I'm gonna be like I'm gonna make 100,000, and then it dropped, right? So like I don't, yeah, I don't have no FOMO. I understand that this shit is just like pure risk, and like you have to just be okay with like a couple $100. Get the hell out, because
Yeah.
that's like a couple $100 you'd never had before. You know what I mean?
I think what makes me mad is like thinking Bitcoin was at 16K probably a year ago. And everyone just kind of said, "Oh yeah, it's okay." Da da da. Now we look at
Well,
it.
you guys
like,
remember when we were trading IM, right? Like I was talking
Dude, what
about
was
like
it at then?
the swings. It was floating
20K,
17K,
right?
like
Yeah.
17, 20K, right?
Yeah.
And I remember just saying to you guys, I was like, I was like, this is, and it didn't necessarily follow the trend that I was at the time stating about like Chinese New Year and like whale sell-offs and like offsetting the book sort of thing for like manufacturing over there. But it like it was still like, oh, like this is gonna be the low point, and so like Bitcoin is gonna moon at like at some point. It happened like a year and a half or 2 years later from that point when we talked about it, right?
Man,
Yeah.
But
we're so ahead.
and
But,
I don't
like-
think it ever went down again below like the 16, 17.
No, I don't think so either. No,
right?
it went up to like really high, it hit 60, but it came all the way down to 16 at one point, and everybody got in again. And like those are the people who are reaping the rewards.
It's
right?
funny how like the human psychology though is like you understand something can go so high and then it comes down so low and then everyone gets off. Everyone's like, no, it's a scheme.
when you
da- da-
should have just.
But then you need to understand like it may have another run. You know what I mean? The human psychology is just like it's what makes the stock market like really make
like
money for them.
not to get too off topic because I know we want to talk about the rebrand, right?
Yeah.
But like especially like you being so active in real estate right now, the 0.25 points
the
drop,
Yeah.
the percentage change. Do you think it's gonna create that similar effect in the housing market again? Like people
Yeah.
like, oh, low rates, FOMO. Are prices going to start skyrocketing again?
Yeah,
Like, what's your
I
take on
personally think 100% it will because like now it's like they haven't dropped rates in 4 years, which is crazy to think about.
It's been
like
4
that,
years?
it's been
Yeah.
4 years, bro.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Since they've dropped rates, so like that's like the government. For me, it's like it's them accepting that there's a change in the cycle. You know what I mean? We're now heading to a cycle where interest rates are going to go down, and then people are going to go back into the market.
Mhm.
And this is the start of that cycle. It's the first time in 4 years, right? So I'm excited about it, and it's not like it's gonna happen right away. Like this is gonna take maybe 6 months to a year for it to really like make a big effect. But it's great news. Like everyone in the real estate community is just celebrating.
Yeah,
You know what
Is
I
it
mean?
consecutive usually when drops happen? Is it like, or is it singular where you get one drop and then like nothing will happen? Or is it usually one drop and then another drop?
Well, they're expecting like predicting like 3 to 4 drops, like the next 3 to 4 announcements. Like the next announcement is in July, so they're expecting like maybe another 2.5, 0.25, and then like we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, because like policies have changed quite a bit, especially like foreign buyer policy, and then we've seen like whistleblowers on some of the major banks in Canada with like fake documents
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But also the crisis that we're in, the shortage, right, hasn't changed. Like there has been new units built, but definitely not enough to fulfill
Mhm.
what has been driving prices so high, right? So
Yeah.
like how does that change anything? Because like you can get back into a market, but especially now where no one can afford to buy,
Yeah.
like how does that impact
I
this?
feel like there's been people desperately waiting on the sidelines, like whether that be like individuals or people who just got married who are still living at their parents' house. Like there's so many people in Canada that have just been waiting for interest rates to drop down because then they can qualify for more. So I feel like once they start dropping down a little bit or 0.50, 0.75 throughout a span of 6 months or a year, like those guys are like, this is our chance to own a house. You know what I mean? So I feel like the demand is still there. I feel like it's not like the foreign buyer stuff. Like it's I don't think that makes such a big impact. I feel like that's more like development and like bigger money. Like the Chinese aren't here to buy like a duplex or like a single family house.
Right.
Like they're here to buy apartment buildings
Multifamilies,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So like that sector, condos in Toronto, like that may still take a while to grow, but like people are still sitting on the sideline wanting to own a home. You know what I mean? They're waiting for like these, because the second it drops a little bit, you got to qualify for more, right? So yeah.
So my question is this, because like with the, or what's it called, the rate going down, doesn't our dollar also fell? Does that coincide usually?
To be completely honest, like I'm not an expert in that topic, so I'm not really sure, but it would make sense for the dollar to go down, especially if the States hasn't decreased their interest rates.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like they will still, like the American dollar is still a lot more than the Canadian dollar.
Yeah, the only reason I asked is like I saw like a big player actually post that. He's like, as we bring rates down, our dollar also loses it, right? Because our GDP isn't actually like, it's not outbeating our performance.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially we're looking at recession numbers, but nobody's actually like realizing we're getting there.
Yeah, and when rates go down, it's not just like mortgages; it's also like line of credits, and it's also like the borrowing power, like crime rate goes down, right? So people are able to borrow more money.
Loans against bonds.
Yeah,
exactly.
Stuff,
right? That is true. Okay.
So does this change anything in like your strategy then? Do you think about like now potentially selling off like Sarnia, for example? Or
So like honestly, like it doesn't change my strategy. Like if anything, it kind of gives me a relief. Like we've weathered the storm. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, okay, thank goodness, because like if they kept on going up, then it's like, okay, like damn, like what do we do? But now it's like Sarnia for me for sure is a hold. Even Gray Street is a hold, because like now we're getting to like good times, quote unquote, right? But it changes my strategy in the way that like these next 3, 4, 6 months are crucial, because a 0.25 decrease in interest rates, it doesn't change a lot. So we still have an opportunity to get houses at a cheaper price. But once that shit starts going down a lot, then everyone's flooding the market. So I feel like there's a small gap that we have in like 3, 4, 5 months. And then after that, it's like things are just not going to make sense with the numbers. So that it changes my strategy in that way, not to like sell off anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense for sure.
Interesting though. Right? Okay, but let's talk about what the people came here for, boys.
I was about to say the change.
The Nüvida change to Uncapped. Ooh. What is the feedback, I guess, you guys have been getting from other people?
I'll go first. Everyone keeps asking me, why did we switch from Nüvida? Straight up. It's kind of weird. Like, we were at the barbershop just earlier today. It's like, why'd you guys switch? And I was like, I don't know. Like, we did know because of, like, the direction we want to go, like, the angle, like, what we believe our, like, the brand is supposed to be. And with Nüvida, it felt kind of, not isolated, but it was, like, unless you knew what it was or you knew us, it was kind of hard to, what's the wording for it? Like, feel the same about it. I don't know, like, or resonate with it. That's a word, right? Like, as we went to Uncapped, there are a lot more people that were able to resonate with the name, because it's like, oh, Uncapped, like, you guys are willing to talk about whatever, or your brand is like a little more unhinged. But with Nüvida, it was, unless you knew us, and it was like our home brand, you know what I mean? So everybody that knew us growing the brand, they're like, oh, what was the switch for? That's what I heard on my end.
I don't know. I think like we definitely lost some brand identity for sure, because like Nüvida started out as this whole like fitness push, and it's not that we moved away from it, but I think like as the network of individuals that expanded, like with the people we were meeting and the conversations we were having, I think we also just had a realization and like just a shift in goals, right? All of us are into some form of business development, and that's what these conversations are usually about, right? Is like we now have a network that like if you come to me, or if someone comes to you, sort of thing, 9 times out of 10 we can say, oh, I don't know, but I can connect you with that person, right? And like that's a big part of like leadership that's taught and like teaching and stuff, is like being able to like admit like, oh, like I don't have all the resources myself, but that's also why we develop these networks. And I think that was a big reason as to why we shifted, is because we understood we wanted to be more of a leveraging network, that we can put people in the same rooms or put people's show on there, and just like whether it's to inspire or learn or connect people and individuals, that we now have a platform that's more defined towards that. The other thing was also like the name. We had a lot of search issues, a lot of mispronunciations, that's like that sort of stuff,
and like a lot of confusion. Like everyone's like, "What's Nüvida?" You know what I mean? And like you said, the search thing was the biggest thing. It's like if you're typing on YouTube, you had to add the 2 dots over the U, which a lot of people missed. You know what I mean? Because like no one, like you got to hold shift and U or something.
Right? It was all code 0232, something like that. I still remember it, but
something like that.
But no, that was a huge thing. And then like also the Let's Talk, a lot of people associated that with like Bell Let's Talk. Like, are you guys just a mental health group or whatever? Which like we do focus on like mental health as well, but Uncapped just, it seemed to resonate more with us. You know what I mean? Because like there's no cap to like what we do or what we're gonna do with this, right? So, but no, I feel like a lot of people were kind of surprised. You know what I mean?
I feel like people still haven't really grasped it yet. In a way, you know what I mean? At least our old fans, because like the ones I've talked to personally, they're like, "Why'd you guys switch? Why?" and like I know why we did, but it's still kind of hard to like fully, I guess, change their minds on why we did it, right? Because it was kind of our identity in some form, right? It was 2.5 years of like breeding that brand, and then after it kind of
pretty crazy when you put it like that.
Yeah.
Eh? Like the logo too, like it actually was like us for a bit,
Yeah.
and then now it's like
it was an identity thing for sure, 100%. And like the switch up on it was just kind of like I could see why people would be like questioning that, because like it's almost like oh, like are you quitting on it sort of thing? Like are you, is this just to develop a new thing completely, but like transfer following sort of thing, right? And it can easily be looked at that from the outside eye, right? But it's still like the same development, same processes. Like we're definitely like trying to make moves and position ourselves much better. But I can definitely see like why like people would be questioning it sort of thing.
Do you miss it at all?
Not one bit.
Not one bit.
No, me personally, not one bit.
Why do you miss it?
No, yes and no.
I'm not gonna lie. Right from the start, I didn't like the name. Yeah, but like that was back when we had 8 members. The vote was so heavily lopsided. Yeah, it was a name brought in by someone that was like part of the team for like a week. It felt like. But like I just sorry if you're watching. There's a chance, but I just didn't like it right out of the gate. But it was on a vote basis sort of thing, and it was like, okay, we'll kind of like roll with it sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of wild when you put it like that. Like there was a lot of people involved in what we were creating like a couple years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like at some point we had like close to 7 people.
I think we peaked at 9. And then
we peaked at 9 people.
Yeah, there's 9 of us at one point.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's crazy to think. Even that is like when you whittle down, it was what we'll say 3 years, maybe 4, if we want to put like the old back end part, and then you go from 9 to 4 now.
Sometimes it feels like 2.
That's for a different part.
Follow the subscribe thing, where you got paid,
Patreon
shows,
Cameo, all that,
the back end. No, but yeah, like it's I also think like we were the Uncapped Network too, because we also like wanted to go to that different level, like of like now like a production service as well, also sponsorships. Like people were taking us a lot like more seriously, you know what I mean? So we just had to level up.
And we wanted to leverage the platform too. Like we want to bring on like shows produced by Uncapped, right? That we defined our pillars, right? We had some great conversations with potentials that like time constraints or whatever, like they were all like gung-ho, ready to go. And then all of a sudden, like things have just fell out. But like we've definitely like that, I think was what pushed us more towards like a network based name. Yeah. Was because we wanted to like put on more people. Like we wanted to just bring more different like aspects and value to people that wasn't just through this show sort of thing.
Yeah. So this is now episode 93. So I'll start with David and I'll go with you. But like, did you think we were ever gonna be 7 shows away from 100? Like did you from the beginning? Like, is it crazy to you that we're almost at 100 episodes?
Yes and no. The thing is like with being so close with you two, like understanding the drive, the work ethic, the value that you guys put into the podcast and having a show, it was like, okay, I don't see these guys like quitting in any aspect sort of thing, right? Like none of us, I think, have a quitter's mentality. So like in that part, like I was like, yeah, like I don't really like I can see this just going for a very long time. I didn't necessarily put a number on it or 100 or whatever, but it was never like I looked at it as a short-term thing. On the flip side though, we've had some tough conversations and some moments where it did feel like we were going to fall apart and like not get to the next episode, or we had up until a certain point where it was like, okay, what is going to come next sort of thing. Like what if things don't change, things aren't going to improve, they're not going to get better, we're going to stay in the same similar rut sort of thing. So like during some of those times, it wasn't kind of like it's all on the line, like this is it sort of thing. But it was like, okay, like I think we've all asked ourselves like, how much more are we going to do of this at certain points, right? And it may have been all different points for all of us, right? But that's what I think is like, like it always is just like like I could always see it going both ways, but it wouldn't be necessarily like a quitting as opposed to just like things falling apart, right? And like that might not be the best explanation for viewers to understand, but I think like
We get it.
Yeah,
we
and
get it for
I
sure.
don't really know how to get it into words. Sort of.
Well, like to put some context to that, it's like I don't think like the viewers really understand. Like we actually meet once a week, every week for all these weeks, like with actual like team meetings, goals, objectives. Like right, like people probably think we just like meet up and talk and get these guests on, but like we actually for almost 2-3 years have been actually building something.
Even too,
right?
we talked about it before. We've consistently always showed up for an episode. We've not missed out, no matter somebody else flopped or whatever. We've not flopped once. Everyone's there. We pull up, and I think that's a very remarkable part. And I guess I can kind of segue in from here. It's like that's why I never thought we wouldn't hit 100. I think it's more the momentum and like I guess the energy that's going into that episode 100. Are we going to have the same or energy that we had episode 15, episode 25, 50, all these like certain numbers? Is episode 100 still going to have the capacity that we had back then? And I'll leave it at that because my question kind of segues from there that I'll ask you to after. What about you?
Yeah, like I mean 100 is a big number. Like I feel like we should all like be so proud, and like I know we said, you know, we're gonna do a big Celia episode 100, whether we do or not. Like we have to do something.
It'll be
something has to be done for episode 100, because like to think that like we've been together as a team for 100 episodes, 100 weeks, you know what, like on average maybe 150 hours together is kind of fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like present, like in here. You know what I mean? That's not even including like the editing hours that David puts in, or like the networking hours that we put in, or whatever. My point is like, yeah, like it's, yeah. And I never thought this was gonna fail or that we were gonna quit. That was never a thought in my mind. But this is like a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? A lot of podcasts, like what, 80% fall off after like 10, 15, 20.
Well, even just like like you think about like anything else, right? Like whether it's like working out or for some people it's a new job, right? Like you get into a new, like some people are just, whether it's so accustomed to not working or working one specific style, like a warehouse job versus like going into retail or vice versa, right? Like how many people like after a week, 2 weeks, a month, they're just kind of like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Like, why am I putting so much effort into this? And like this is one of those things that you don't see like benefits and rewards like and like a monetary value, because the people we've met, the hands we've been able to shake, the people that we've sat across from and had conversations with and been able to learn from, that you can't really attach a value to that. And that's almost like, okay, like it is worth it 100%, but like it's so hard, especially like even just in the moments, right, of seeing like that immediate value and what you can actually take away from some of these conversations. So yeah, like the it would have been easy like to like 3 months in, oh fuck guys, we're getting no views, this or that, or oh man, why are we even showing up to this shit, right? It would have been easy to put that mentality in there, but instead of like every week just choosing to put it all out. Right.
All right, so my question for you two is, do you feel the momentum is slowing down right now? And as we approach episode 100, do we think, are we gonna turn it up, or do you think it's just a coast at the moment?
I would just say we're in a very different time, because we also started this when a lot more people and a lot larger caliber guests had more time, right? We started this during COVID, right? And even towards the tail end of COVID, and then months, years after COVID, where like hours didn't change or work from homes didn't change and stuff like that, right? Versus like, I would say the world has been fully functioning and running for quite some time now, but like on a business side of things, it's firing even larger now, right? So like just people are busy, right? And like to continue a high caliber momentum without the ability to like travel to guests, right? So I'm sure if we could reach out to big names, say, hey, we're going to fly in, we have this place, can you record this time? It'd be a lot easier to land someone, sort of thing, instead of getting them to come to our place or just only sourcing locally. But even like locally, like a lot of the big players, like we've had people that aren't getting back to us right now because they're doing product launches in the US, or they're massive shows because whatever they're working in is in season, sort of thing, right? So it's just, I think it's just a whole different kind of hurdle to overcome. as to if it slows things down or anything, like I would say that's the only limiting factor, right? Like I don't think like we're actually like stagnant or not growing or anything like that. I just think it's really balancing schedules. Like we even have trouble sometimes juggling our schedules, right? And then on top of that, everyone else's sort of thing. So
yeah, and I think it's like it's naive to think that like you're not gonna go through a roller coaster when you're building something big. You know what I mean? Because we've all had it where we have been down and then all of a sudden we're so up and then we're down and then we're so up, but that high is like higher than the previous high. Yeah. So it's like we are growing, I think, and like to David's point in the sense of like, you know, we're in London, Ontario, people have to come to the studio. Like maybe we adapt in the next quarter. We adapt. Maybe like I know we don't like online interviews because like there's not that personal aspect, and also like you got to make sure the person has a good mic, a good camera. Like that's something that's maybe out of your control. Good Wi-Fi. But yeah, maybe we adapt. Maybe we start taking things to another level. Like yeah, I don't think we've stayed stagnant or we're done growing. I think like we're consistently growing, and there's always periods to growth. And right now we're in that period where it's like you know like up and down. Yeah. Right now we're like maybe not down, but like back up, and then it's just that's just life. That's just business. What about you?
I always think right now we're kind of going through a growing pain. That's how I kind of envisioned it, right? Like things are super well and they're running well, but like it doesn't feel like we're getting super far ahead. And maybe that's because we were like doing hurdles and leaps before, right? Now it's like a brisk walk, but we're actually getting everything done still. And I think it's the fact that we were maybe a little more disorganized before. So now that everything's running smoother, it's like, are we working as like do you guys get what I'm saying? Like
yeah, but like we're also like we're in a tough business in the sense of like you gotta give until you get, and we're in a position we've gave so much, we've given so much to so many people, and we haven't technically got. And I'm not saying that's what we're expecting, but it's something that like maybe we made a mistake in. Maybe we gave too much, like you know what I mean. But like I truly feel like there's still value in that. We're going to get it back at some point. But my point is like, yeah, like we're still learning. Like 100 episodes is still so little. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but no, I get what you mean. Like we've given people so much, like so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I guess what I really want to know is it's based off of something you actually mentioned in the last episode. So you said you plan on being in the US full time in 2 years, potentially even a year. You don't really know. I guess like where's your head at when it comes to all of this, right? Because that's like the show doesn't necessarily travel down there with you. And it's not to say that like there's a variation where like maybe it's like Coca's show and like it's still part of the same network and you develop something down there and continue podcasting. Maybe you want to get out of podcasting altogether. But like that's like I understand why you want to go. I understand why a lot of people want to go. So yeah, I guess like where's your head at in regards to like Uncapped and
so all for that? Me that's realistically what's held me here the whole time, if I'm honest with you. If it wasn't for the podcast, I would have dashed off. Like if I'm 100% serious with,
but like do you like sorry to just interject right away, but do you think like the podcast completely dies if you leave?
No, I don't believe that, but I think it's the fact that it goes back to like us sticking together and like everyone putting in effort. If I didn't see that with everybody, I'd feel like, okay, I can maybe make an exit. And I don't think I would, but I think the fact that like we've been so like persistent, we've bled in this, right? It showed me that like this is 100% possible. Like I've even told my mom, she's like, why don't you get up and go? I was like, I can't. Honestly, I can't. Like I've said it to him. I don't know if I have said it to you, but like realistically, if it wasn't for the podcast, I would have moved away already.
So, no, and I remember a period in time where like it was very close.
Yeah,
it was very, very close. And like, cause like we have a lot of conversations behind the scenes about like goals and aspirations and more like taking care of yourself, right? And so, like, I understand the commitment to this and what's here. But like, do you think like it's preventing you from that next big step that you need in life, sort of thing?
I don't think it is specific. Like, in some ways, right? Maybe it's like immediate growth, right? Because, for example, I could take off there. Like, I already have my American citizen. My dad has a business. Like, I'm good if I go there, right? It's not like, but am I living out something I created myself or something that I'm a part of. Because if I go there, I'm just kind of joining his business and taking that over. So it's nothing where it's nothing of mine. I don't feel that like, I guess like that warm feeling of like, this is something I helped develop, right? With this is something that like I can say like I have my passion in a way. And I think that's kind of what's held me here for a long time. And as I've stayed here, I've noticed a lot more opportunities are coming up where it's like almost like a reward for staying here. And I don't want to kind of balance it. It's like, oh, the reason you're here is this, blah, blah, blah. Realistically, yes, the podcast is a big factor. Also my family. So the fact that I'm able to be here for both of those, I'm seeing the rewards that I'm reaping now. With me like just kind of hanging in, and now like this is happening, and I'm like, oh wow, if I would have left a long time ago, I would have never got to experience these things. It's also kind of allowed me to toughen up in some ways, because I'm like, you know what, things didn't go exactly how I wanted to and right away, so now I'm like, I've kind of weathered those storms, and I'm like, oh, I could go through that again and not have a problem.
Okay. And so, because like you mentioned about like building something, and sorry if you have anything.
I'm listening.
So because like I've always had the point, like I get like maybe the fulfillment of doing something on your own, like kind of just like the whole like I don't need a handout from my parents or anything in that aspect, right? But you said like if you were to go down there, you'd get a job with your dad's business, and then like you would eventually like be working towards taking over that business, right? And the way I look at it, and like I had this with a conversation with a friend in the past, sort of thing, and it's like, yes, it's your dad's business. He's done all the framework to get you there, but it doesn't stop you from learning and growing and adapting and building an even bigger business on top of that, right? The other advantage to that is you're going to get a firsthand and real mentorship and training sort of thing, right? So it's a lot easier to show your son the ways, or someone that you think of as a son, or like someone, if you're a mentor to someone and like you really take a liking to a kid that comes in your business, and you're like, I see the potential in this kid, and like bringing them through the ropes and showing them like the real back end systems of a business and everything there too, right? So I think like I guess what I'm getting at is like almost like I just don't agree with the chain of thought. Just because like it's almost like a cheat code. Right?
No,
like
and I agree with you. Like you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just I think it's like, I guess my upbringing, like just kind of being too prideful, and maybe that's an issue, right? Like I don't want to think like him to say, hey, you're here because of me. You know what I mean? Like my whole life I've been able to get where I'm at without him being present. Maybe financially, like speaking, all that, he has been there, but physically and like actually kind of mentoring me, he hasn't. So for me, I think it's almost like, all right, I'll prove you wrong. And it goes back to pride. Maybe I'm being too prideful. And like pride can be damaging, right? It can be good and it can be bad.
And obviously there's so many factors that weigh in there, right? Like what the relationship is with them and everything too, for sure, right?
But sorry to chime in, but like the truth is too, like if this podcast, I feel like hasn't benefited you in like the last 2-3 years, you'd be gone. You'd be in Miami gone. But like think about it, like the people you've met, like for example, like Alfonso and this, and I can name so many more people. Like kind of the world is showing you that you're doing something right.
Yeah, I'm doing the right thing, and that's why I haven't felt like, okay, hit the red button, let's get out of here. You know what I mean? Like the option's always there. But I haven't felt like I've had to remove the glass off of it and think about hitting it, surprisingly.
So then what makes that difference between now and 2 years?
To be honest, we're going to be gone in 2 years. I'm not like, when I think 2 years Miami.
Like you think all of us? Like, is that
maybe not all of us, but like we're going to have a station down there. We're going to have something there. Like, you know what I mean? We're going to have the freedom where, yeah, guess what? Maybe we're going to be in it. Like, I don't know, California. I don't know. Like how I look at it is like I'm in 2 years, hopefully everything is set up. We're so far ahead that we're usually just doing like travel trips to shoot episodes. Like when I say that, like I don't really look at it by myself because I don't like being by myself.
And the thing is, like I saw like the receipts. I remember you sent of George from Impulsive. The man made 329,000 in like a year or 2 years or whatever. Yeah, if we get to that point, like we can really go anywhere.
You know what I mean?
100%,
right?
For sure.
Like for me, it's like I don't want to go by myself. Like that's always been my problem. Is like I know I'm a social person. Like yeah, I'll be fine if I do go, but I don't want to go by myself. Like I remember the first time, like when the conversation came up about moving, I was like, "Yo, Carl does concrete. Like a bunch of my buddies do all this." I'm like, "Yo, any of you want to go with me? Like I'll try to help you get the visa. I don't want to go by myself." So like when I did say yeah, 2 years from now, like I really do believe we're gonna be in a position where it's not just me. And then at that point, my finances are going to be in a point where, okay, I'll leave for the weekend. If I have to fly back in on Thursday, I will. If I'm going to have a shitty jet lag sleep, I will. But like, I don't want to give up on this. Like, to be honest with you, I'll give up when you two give up. I'll wait for you guys to wave the white flag. I won't do it.
Oh, and I'm not like coming out in the way
no,
quitting or anything.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that,
And
right?
then, I just hope like, I don't know, when I say that, like I hope it doesn't come off like oh da da da. It's like more just kind of the passion in it. Like I'm down to literally ride this out till there's no wheels, there's no water, no food, no nothing. And then
water,
we can
no food.
whatever. Like we have to turn on each other and like, hey guys, you know what? We had a freaking great time. We got this far. Look at all the memories we built. Look at all the people we've met. Like, look what we can do with what we have now, and we can walk away. But before then, I'm not gonna raise the white flag.
It's funny though, because I feel like most people don't understand like what we go through in the sense of building something that, like you said, doesn't make monetary money. There's a lot of value in the sense of like the community we're building through our listeners. Like we do this for them. We do this so other people can like that. We started this so other people can see how other people live, and that you're not trapped in a box. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Like that's why we started this. But yeah, it's a tough like thing when you put it like that, because it's like, yeah, we're gonna be doing this for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Like you know what I mean? Like, does this die out? Like, it's interesting because I feel like it's only a small population of people who understand the social media influencer game, where it's like you're not making money now for maybe a year or two, but like there's value. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Even to like why develop that? I can actually attest to you. I remember back you used to be like when we were in Nüvida, you'd be like, yo, I can't wait till like this is all I'm focused on. Da, da, da. I'm only doing this. Like we have the office. Like that's kind of like having you say that is a lot what attested to like why I'm kind of committed to it, because I saw how committed you were. I see how committed you are. See how committed Claude is, and I'm like, okay, like how am I not gonna have that same commitment to just kick it and like actually ride this out till the wheels fall off? I don't believe they're gonna fall off. Honestly, I don't. I think within 2 years we're gonna be. Think of us 2 years ago. We weren't where we are now. We have our own studio. We're so up. 2 years from now, I believe we're gonna be so far ahead that like we can look at it and be like, why did we ever think of quitting? If that makes sense.
No, for sure. It does make sense 100%. And yeah, it, like I don't know, it's a weird topic of conversation because it's not like quitting is the it's not like a top of mind thought or anything, right? It was just kind of like it was said in the last podcast, right? And then it was just kind of like as I'm editing it and I hear it again sort of thing, it was just kind of like, oh, like, okay, where does that leave us sort of thing, right? Yeah. Like,
no, and I appreciate you asking, because like I think I do have to tell you guys that, right? Because if I'm not as involved as you two are, or Claude is like, are we investing more than him? And then like, what, are we just gonna be thrown against the wall and then he takes off to Miami? No, it's never my intention.
No. But, yeah, it definitely wasn't looked at that like in that aspect at all, for sure, 100%. Yeah.
What about you? How do you feel like, you know, like, because you're the editor and like you don't get camera time as often, but like you are behind the scenes, like carrying a heavy load.
Heavy.
Like, how have you felt these last couple of?
It definitely gets frustrating at times, but I think we kind of had this conversation last week. Was just it's a frustration around time management, and I feel if I was in the position, whether it was Uncapped or Hero Cent or my fitness, whatever it was, where I was just like, I don't need, like, when I say financially better, like my bills are paid on a monthly basis, right? But it's like all the little extras, right? That like I know, like sacrifice, and like we had the whole sacrifice topic on the last podcast, but like that's what's gonna make the difference, right? But like if I had a little bit better financial situation where like, yeah, I can go for a round of golf this week and not be stressing it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then it changes, for sure. And so with whether like I said, whether as long as that gets in place and the time management sort of thing, which that's my own battle, like that has been an everlasting battle. It started in probably early like high school, even, because that was where like my parents weren't as like I had strict ass parents, but like they weren't as hard in regards to like certain things. That's where like sports start to like fall off. Like you're not doing 3 different sports, maybe you're only doing like one, and it's only during certain times of the year. And like even like I can see how that translates now with like the winter depression sort of thing. It gets colder and it's harder to like convince yourself to like I went and played basketball with Rennie the other day, and I was like, holy shit, like this felt so amazing, right? Like you're just out in the sun. We found like there's right up the street from where we live, there's this nice like community center with like 3 courts. It's well maintained, nets on it and everything. There's tennis, there's pickleball, it's a really nice area. And like I was like, it's just so much easier to feel good when you can get active and be outside in those sort of ways, right? So like ever since like it was almost like for a long period of time in these last few years, like it's been only myself that I really can let down, right?
Yeah.
So when I don't wake up to my alarm in the morning, it's only me. And how do I combat that? Oh, well, everything I do from work is from home. It's on the computer. I don't answer to anyone. I can do it later.
Yeah.
Creates me staying up a whole lot later. I fall asleep a lot later, wake up later. And that's like a repetitive cycle where just, again, mismanaging time. And I don't think like everyone needs to be on this 5 a.m. schedule, right? But also like just the productivity, right? Like if I'm waking up at 10 or 11 o'clock every day, and then like I'm kind of sluggish for an hour because, you know, like not everyone's always like gung-ho when they get up, sort of thing. And then it's like if I don't really get to work until like 12, 1 o'clock some days, right? And then like I work until like around dinner time, and then kind of just chill out for a bit, whether it's with roommates or my girlfriend or whoever it is. And then like the gym, and then like I don't get back to work until 11 or 12 or however later. It's just, again, just poor time management, right? So it with Uncapped, it's just like the times that I find I'm getting the most frustrated is it's like, well, fuck, I'm sitting here doing all of this work. I'm the one stuck. And I say stuck like that because I'm not stuck. It was an active decision that I made. It was a skill I chose to develop. It was something that I'm very happy to be part of and to be doing. But like I get cheesed when I'm like editing last minute, sort of thing. But like there's like 99% of the time, especially recently with how on top of things we've been, it's no one's fault but mine, right? And so like, what am I cheesed about? I'm cheesed that I have this workload, or I'm cheesed that I chose not to edit this day, or to leave it till this time, or like when I'm like starting to where I feel like I should be on like winding down for the night, but now I'm stuck working, sort of thing, right? It like. And that's with like any of the work that I'm involved in, right? Like with HeroSend and developing a CRM based software and selling to do digital marketing for people and stuff. Same thing. Like it's like, okay, can I be productive earlier in the day or just at better points of the day that are beneficial to like me and my schedule? How do I integrate it? Do I actually be active during those times, or like do I just kind of sit there and like, oh, I need to do this, do one thing, and then get distracted? So it's like if I could better manage my time around doing the tasks that I need to do, then in those other periods of time when I am wanting to unwind, like there's no guilty feeling, there's no like constant urgency of like, fuck, like I'm falling behind, I need to do this, I need to do that, because like it all boils down to like how I'm conducting myself. Sort of thing.
That's one of the toughest things, bro, is time management. You know what I mean? Like I feel like any of us would be liars if we said we have time management. Bro. The Google Calendar is perfect.
Thumbnail?
Like, no, man.
I'm always leaving to last minute. I'm like, oh, I could have done it on the weekend, for example. Don't even have to worry about it. Next thing it's Monday, Tuesday's creeping in. I'm halfway done. I'm like, okay, I could have went to bed at 9, 10. It's 12 o'clock and I'm still working on it. I'm like, yo, why am I doing this to myself? You know what I mean? So like I resonate with you 100% on that idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder like, why is that? Like we all experience it. Why?
Procrastination is just too easy. I think if I'm honest, I think that is just way too easy. And I think those momentary like satisfaction of like, okay, I'll just scroll through my phone, or I'll play a game, or I'll watch a movie, or watch Netflix, something like that, is I haven't differentiated the feeling of happiness between both of those. Am I going to be more happy if I get it done early and have more time to myself, or am I going to have more happiness in that momentary feeling?
I feel like in a weird way, we all work best under pressure, which isn't good.
Yeah.
Like when you know something's due at fucking 12 o'clock, like you're on it forever because like you're actually stressing, you're a little bit anxious. You're like, I gotta get this shit done. And like if we could only associate that feeling of pressure to like an earlier time before it's due, that'd be beautiful.
Do you think it's because of
like
school?
how do we do that?
Do you think it's because of school? Like, did you operate like that at school?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Oh,
Every
we all
project
did,
was done the night before.
Yeah.
Any submission, even in college, man. Oh, I got a test 11 p.m.
Yep.
Right, closes at 11:59.
Yeah.
So fuck. Hopefully, I get it done. but
Bro,
like
here.
all the way through. Even when I was younger, I remember my mom tells this story all the time. I had a spelling test in French, right, and my mom, oh, you're not studying, you're not doing this. Oh, I'm good. I went and failed the test, right? And my mom went to school, talked to the teacher, Madame Galizia. You probably remember
she was hard,
her,
bro.
right? Yeah. And so my mom was like, don't change his grade or anything, but let him rewrite it, right? And so
that's dope.
Next night, the next day, I had to write it. So that night, my mom said I picked up the book for 10 minutes. That was it. The next day, 100%. Didn't get the better grade, right? But it was just kind of, and like every time my mom tells that story, I'm kind of like,
what a lesson.
Like, bro,
yeah.
Like,
what do you get out of it?
Like for real, like the lesson out of it is just like, it's like, why does it take that for me to perform? Like I even think about like sports, right? And actually I was really reflecting on this yesterday after playing basketball, where it was kind of just like hockey was my sport, and hockey, I never made it to the level that I think I was capable of. Right? Everyone thinks they're a superstar, but I think like with what I know now, the mental aspect of it, the physical capabilities that I have, I think like I could have done much better. But I could always play up to whatever level. If I got called up to play with certain competitive teams, right, I would go on the ice, I would stand out, I would be able to score, right, I would get amazing feedback from it. But like I wasn't making the team. So like, what was the issue back then? And then even just like, I was always one of the better players on my teams and whatever level I was playing at, but it was never like I was playing so far above them that like I stood out to automatically be on that next like competitive team sort of thing. But if I went up and played with that competitive team, I would stand out. So it was like, why can I always like play up to the competition when the pressure's on, but not just put that pressure on like fluently? And it's the same thing now with like business, right? It's like, why do I need to feel so backed into a corner, so financially restricted, so like just like shit that like then that's when I perform sort of thing, and I get shit done. Like, why does it have to come to that? Like I can sit there every single day and be like, I need to do these tasks. Oh, put your phone down, David, do these tasks, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah, right? It's like that old saying, like talent doesn't beat hard work. You know what I mean? Like I remember a similar lesson with my dad was he would always spin the basketball on his middle finger, and then I was like, oh, I could never do that. Literally 4 months of me practicing the whole time, and now I can spin the basketball on my finger, like, but just doing the work, practicing. So like, it's a similar lesson like that your mom taught you. It's like, yeah, like. And bro, like these are some really big fucking lessons that we all have to take home and apply. Like they're very simple and they're very in your face. You know what I mean?
It's crazy that we all like came down to it. Literally is pressure when we leave ourselves till the last minute. And I think that's the biggest thing that we do have to take away from that. It's like, why is the last minute or like that pressure so valuable to us, but like we can't take it and like apply it to something.
And the craziest thing is all of us, I know for a fact, have done the stupid nitty-gritty work that we never wanted to do before it was due, and it feels great.
Yeah.
To have those things done a couple days or 3 days earlier, it feels great. They maybe aren't done all the time, but we've all done it once in a while, and it's just like, wow. So it's like, it's so weird. It's psychologically very weird as to why we wait for the pressure to build, you know?
What do you think? Sorry, you go first.
I was just going to say, like, why can't we get addicted to that, though?
Yeah.
It's almost like we're addicted to the pressure.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, you know what I mean?
Do you think it's like not systematic? I don't think that's, but do you think it's like we're conditioned at this point, and that's why we have to like feel that way?
If we were conditioned, if we were truly conditioned, we would be on that side.
True.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
No, 100%.
And it's not a rip to 9-to-5ers or
Yeah.
the system, the agenda, right? Like there's a lot of value in a lot of those jobs, and a lot of people make great livings off of them. But I think like if it were to boil down to that, like we would be on that side.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like we're just like teeter-tottering in that middle, and I've always said this, like it's something that lingers in our conscience all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like us, what do you call it? Sculpturing a rock. It's like we're hitting the hammer. We know we have to do better, and it takes time for that to actually look like a face. You know what I mean? So it's like the more conversations we have about this, the more conversations we have with ourselves about this, it's inevitable that we're gonna be able to succeed. You know what I mean? And it may take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, 20 years.
But it's working.
Like Kentucky Fried Chicken didn't make his fucking chicken until he was 60. Like my point is like, as long as you're hammering and checking yourself, if your conscience is bugging you, great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think
some people don't have that.
No, yeah.
Man, that's why like even to just hearing you guys both say that, it's just like I'm like kind of smiling and laughing. I'm like, how does it take like this kind of moment for me to like realize that when it's like right in front of your face all the time?
Yeah. Maybe it's like accountability meetings. Maybe it's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what it is, but like something like needs
going back to the community thing that we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
I think maybe it's that. It's like I know we do hold each other like accountable sometimes for like at least for the business, right? But then does it have to develop to the point where now we're holding each other like accountable to like our own personal lives? Like, did you go work out today? Did you like this is super simple? Did you go take a shower today? Did you brush your teeth? Like little things like that. It may not seem big to most people because they just regularly do it, right? But like, is that what's stopping us from propelling like more forward? You know what I mean?
And the toughest thing is to negotiate with yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's the toughest thing ever. Because like think about it, it's so easy for me to tell you to be better, but then I could be at home not doing what I'm telling you to be better for. Because I can justify it to myself. Like, oh no, you don't have to.
Yeah, and you don't have to justify it to anyone else. That's the thing, right? Like only you. For me personally, like the only time I feel shame is when I feel shame in myself. Yeah. Like you could be scolding me, you could be saying whatever. I'd be like, all right, that's your opinion. I don't give two shits, right? But like then if I go home and like I do the next thing and then I feel very like shameful of it, like whatever it is, then like that's the only time I feel bad, right? So like I get what you're saying with accountability. For most people, that accountability is show up to your job or you're fired, right? Super easy. When you're like, fuck, I need this next paycheck. I need to make sure that this bill's paid. I need to make sure that that's paid, this and that, all. And like, it's still there. Like, we all have bills. It's not like we're out here fucking around.
No.
Like, you know, right? But like,
we got a freaking studio. Like,
right?
we're on
like,
it.
yeah, it's like the getting past, like the getting by.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Like, it all goes back to like treating yourself like someone you're responsible for. You know what I mean?
Like the pet.
Like, yeah, for example, like if you have a pet dog and you take them to the vet and they say, okay, you got to give this pet like pills once a day for 7 days, you're going to make sure that dog does not miss a pill because you love them so much. But when it comes to ourselves, like you might miss a medication, you know what I mean? Because like we know ourselves so much to the point where like we individually know our deepest secrets. You know what you've done that's like crazy. You know what I've done some crazy things that only I know, only you know. So we're able to justify not treating ourselves with respect because we know how deep like you go, I go. And so that's like the tough balance is like you have to literally like treat yourself like you're like someone you're responsible for. Negotiate with yourself. Be like, hey, if I get this task done, then you know what? Maybe I can go light up a spliff. Yeah. But you have to negotiate with yourself.
Yeah, it's
like
give and take.
If you don't, then it's like, what are you dealing with?
Yeah, no,
you know
I
what I
agree
mean?
with you 100%. I think it's like that give and take, and also like being nice to yourself. Like, yeah, you know what, you fucked up, but also too, you can do better. So it's like be nice to yourself when you know you're getting mad at yourself, but also reward yourself when you're doing good, and like make the good times a lot better than the bad times, kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's little things too. Like Jordan Peterson always says, like he had like someone who's like very like depressed or whatever. They went to his because he's a psychiatrist, right? So like they sat down with him and they never had their room cleaned. He goes, you know what? All you have to do this week is make sure you throw your socks in the laundry bin. And then the guy came next week and he didn't accomplish that task. So he goes, okay, that's fine. bring the lottery, bring a little closer to you. But it's little steps, negotiating with yourself. And like after months and months and months, the guy always had his room cleaned.
Just
you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, we're the toughest people to deal with ourselves. But once you master that, you know what I mean?
It's like the line, you are your worst enemy, right? Which is true.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's things in all of our lives that it's just like it's figured out, right? Like for me, it's fitness, right? Like when I miss workouts, it's due to like health, right? But other than that, like I don't miss. I haven't really like let myself slip in a while. Like anytime I gain weight, it's like intentional like gain, right? Like it's like there's no like getting fat anymore. So me, right?
You're a
and
master
it's like
of that
damn,
now.
like if I could just like it's a habit at this point almost, right? It's like okay, now how do I create that habit and just like in all my daily how do I create daily non-negotiables that actually are daily non-negotiables, right? Because like you said, it's so easy to like make an excuse and justify it to yourself, or just like, oh, I'm feeling a little off here, so like little things like that instead of just like pushing through it sort of thing. But
that's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's too easy to give up on yourself. I think that's the biggest factor right there.
I guess the question is now, like, do we go home and take this serious? But honestly, though, you know what I mean? Or in a couple months, we have another team pod and we're like,
kind of have to. I think even too, let's do like what's it called? A check-in. I think that's what we'll do. Once every month, we'll just do a check-in. Did you actually like a team pod check-in kind of thing? Kind of like this, exactly, right? As we had these talks, now we actually identified, okay, what's all of our problems, right? Are you doing anything about it?
Yeah.
And let them know. Why not? I think for a fact that like them hearing us like be very vulnerable, identifying like what we have wrong with ourselves, they'll be willing to like think, okay, maybe actually, I resonate with that. Maybe that's me.
Are you able to share that though? You get pretty.
No, I will, like if we're going on that for sure. Like even too, like with my mentor, I actually messed up. My flaw was I did contracts all month, but I didn't do my working out one. I actually really failed on the working out one. And even too, I wrote, I will identify my failures and my wins. Okay, I can identify my wins. I definitely can identify my failure. It was a lack of effort, just being a pussy, just being weak. It was all me. Like it didn't take me long to just go for an hour, go for a walk. Just simple things like that. I didn't do it. So the only one to blame is myself. So I'm like, I've learned I'm very introspective on the idea of like, I'm okay with saying sorry when I fuck up. Because you know what? A lot of the time I've been selfish and I haven't been able to, or not that I haven't been able to, I just don't really realize it. I kind of just keep going with the motion. And then a couple months later, now I'm figuring it out. Now I'm just a lot more introspective of like, you know, if I fucked up, okay, my bad. And I want to let you know. Don't feel like I'm just doing this because I'm Hollywood or whatever. It's the fact that like I'm just not, like my perspective isn't aligned with yours at that point.
Right. But do you find that you're like getting too comfortable with just saying sorry?
No, not anymore.
Because
like,
you can say sorry and then still not change the action.
Oh, my bad.
Like, no, I'm just not that saying that that's the case, right? But like,
no, because like I found like even to saying sorry is like the reactions I'm getting from the people when I honestly say it, and they really do. Because like there's a fine line where they're like, oh, should I say something to him? But I'm kind of like jumping before they do, kind of thing. I'll say it before you do, because I kind of feel the energy. So it's like I'd rather address the problem now. Let's have a conversation. How can I right my wrongs other than just being a better person myself? If there's something you want specifically from me, let's talk about it. But if I can't come to a middle ground, what middle ground can we reach?
Makes sense for sure.
Yeah, that's deep.
I'm growing, guys.
Jeez.
Yeah, damn.
It's a good one. It's a real good one.
It was good. It was deep. Very deep. Introspective, you know?
You guys, what? You want to wrap it up? Anything you want to say? Like, or anything you want to touch on?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, me neither. Like, I feel like this was a great episode. You know, we really went into it. And I feel like these are the valuable ones when it's just a team, the team member, because this is where we get vulnerable. We talk real and like, and yeah, we check each other and we make sure that, you know, we're thinking not alike, but like we're thinking it like not just in a square. You know what I mean? Like outside the box per se.
I feel like it's symbiotic, but also with our own mindsets, kind of in a way, right? Because we do pull from each other. That's one big thing. We do really pull from each other. It's just like we can't become a hive mind almost in a way where it's like one person says something, okay, that's what we agree to.
Yeah.
I guess one question before we end here, and it is related to Uncapped. Does it cheese either of y'all about like the decision making process?
The decision, like, what do you mean in that sense? Like,
so like for example, like how the social media accounts are ran.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, not saying that there's an issue with that or anything, but like whether it's like a influx in like just posting more or posting different styles or like just like making changes sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
I would say I'm a lot more leeway because I don't even post much on my own, right? So I feel like I'm more like whatever you guys think, right? And maybe that's actually a flaw, right? Like maybe I should have like more of a direct like, okay, no, we should do it this way. But for me personally, I don't post much on my own. So it's like it's very hard for me to give input on something that I don't do myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for me, like I don't think it cheeses me, but like I'm also the type to like ask for an apology and like be sure to prove why I did the move I did. You know what I mean? So like if like let's say for example I'm gonna like we gotta post more on social media, it's like yeah, like that whole like acceptance like between making sure everyone agrees, like yeah, that might be lengthy, but if it's a really fucking great idea and I know for a fact I'm confident in it, like I'll probably do it and then say sorry. You know what I mean? So like
your thoughts?
No, yeah. Sometimes it, like I don't even know because like when we're heading in a certain direction or like when a leadership aspect takes over sort of thing, like we're all usually pretty good for on board. I think it's more sometimes it's just kind of like the communications. I feel like because I'm doing the editing, sometimes it's almost like I'm always like on the fighting end almost, and like it just puts, for me, that's not fun. Like we've had a million conversations about like my struggles with communication and stuff like that, and like how I always feel combative and stuff like that. So like it's just like sometimes almost it's like whether I want change or want to implement something, then it's like, okay, like how hard am I going to fight for this? And then on top of that, it's like, okay, am I going to be the one that has to do it too, sort of thing? Like we all have like our roles and everything, right? But then it's like, if I make this suggestion or I say let's do this, right? Like unless I do the work behind it, sort of thing, like is it going to actually come to fruition, sort of thing, or am I like are we just brainstorming to say yeah, that's a great idea and it moves on? Like you sort of thing, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I 100% agree with you because like you're a lot of time you're getting the front face of like, okay, this is a product, and then you have to hear, okay, no, chime in, right? And a lot of time it's like, okay, I can take the changes, but is it like on time or is it like last minute? There's a lot, right? You do go through a lot, bro. Like 100%. Like that's why even too, we said it earlier. You take such a burden on like all the work you do that they don't get to see. You know, maybe we do have to drop a little vlog of like you just freaking ended it. So no, straight up, no. Like, so they actually, so they see like, yo, it's not like, yo, I just get on, click a button, and everything's done. It's not.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the times now it's like you've worked with us so much that you kind of have a flow. You know, okay, this is what they're gonna like, right? So then when we get to the point where we have to have the discussion, where it's like, no, I can feel where like you would not necessarily defensive, but you're like, okay, this is what you guys have liked 99% of the time. This 1% you don't, and now it's like, okay, now I'm like, you know, you start questioning.
The first thing that comes to my mind is maybe we have to structure the meetings better. You know, come up with like, okay, this is how it's gonna be,
like a rubric. Almost,
if there's any like rebuttal on that, okay, well, like I'm strong on this. Like the meetings may have to be more like building as opposed to like who we having on this week, who we is this gonna be good? Okay, done. Like. You know, we have an hour. Maybe they have to be way more like not combative, but
even
like
to
you know what I mean. Like I get what you're saying, like not argumentative in any sense, but like building and like challenging, in a sense, right? And like task based as well too. Like actually like doing real work, right?
We'll work together.
Like not to call us out on the podcast. How many times have we said we're going to send emails? Right. And then okay,
calls
next week. Oh, did anyone emails get
sent?
You know,
hey,
right?
You guys here.
Right?
We ain't perfect.
I'm not doing the emails either, guys. Like,
no, but the thing is, the
we're not
truth
talking,
is this is why 100 episodes doesn't mean nothing, because when you're really growing and you're really trying to build something big, it probably takes 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
So we're only in the first of the 10 innings.
10%.
Like we're learning, we're growing, and like it's so beautiful to see how like we can actually look back and document this whole process on how our business grew.
That's
You know what I
crazy.
mean? Because we're way better than we were in the first episode, but we also have a lot more to do.
Yeah.
We've just exposed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
If they remember we talked about earlier, is like I'll give them a little bit of like a tidbit. So if they make it to this far, the people that make it this far finally heard the truth. You know?
Yeah.
So we're still a work in progress. We're
Yeah.
humans.
That's it.
Practice makes perfect. We're gonna be perfect though.
Yeah, and that's it. But no, like thank you all for like, you know, listening thus far, and stay tuned for a couple like events coming up, whether that be Tough Mother, whether that be a full marathon. You know, we're trying to get some group activities going. So stay tuned, and the announcements are coming out for that soon. I don't know if you guys want to have anything else.
No, we're gonna build a community. You know, we already kind of have one. We want to develop it a little more. So with time, we'll make posts. We'll let you guys know, and just stay tuned.
That I am going to give myself a little plug in here.
Yeah,
Do it up,
boss.
bro.
Anyone in the area, contractors, service-based businesses, I'm not necessarily confined to just those as well. I have a digital marketing agency. I run lead generation for a couple different companies here in London. I'm looking to expand out. So if that's something that you're struggling with, I have a CRM software with full implementation where I do customizations, AI automations, all of that fun stuff where we streamline your business. So you just got to answer the phone, go and close. So if you're interested in any of that, my business is called Hero Scent Marketing and Media. You can contact me at dave@heroscent.com, and I'd be more than happy to take on some more business. Aside from that, production services with Uncapped Network. We have this lovely space available. So even if you just need a space to shoot, we have rental rates. We have production services with our high-end quality camera equipment, lights, everything available. We're just looking on different ways to expand. And so
Amazing editor also. Don't forget that.
Amazing editor as well.
Yeah, boom. Let's just wrap it up like there, boys.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
Peace.